Hello friends, this is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks. I am so glad you're here with me. In this tutorial, we're going to make this beautiful granny square beanie. I inherited a bunch of patterns from my mom, and this was one of them. And this beanie pattern is 50 years, well, it's over 50 years old. So it's a vintage beanie pattern. And I modified it a little bit because the pattern was without the brim that I have there. And I added the brim for my own touch. So we're going to go ahead and make this, and I'm excited about it, and I hope you are too. I'm using my 5.5 millimeter eye hook and a variety of different yarns. We're going to make the lighter one together, but I'll also post the yarn that I used in the description box below for the black one. So you'll see it below for both of them. So once you have your yarn of choice ready, we're going to go ahead and make this beautiful beanie. I hope that you enjoy the process, and friends, I cannot wait to see the color choices that you choose. Please don't forget to post in my Facebook group. The link will be down in the description box below for that as well. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so, and don't forget to hit that thumbs up. That would be awesome. All right, friends, get your supplies and let's get started on this beautiful beanie. All right, friends, I have my boy hook. It is a I-9 or 5.5 millimeter hook, and I've got my big twist yarn in Sage, and I'm going to do a slip knot. I wrap it around my finger and then make a crossover there, put my hook underneath, grab that back one, pull it through, and I've got my slip knot on my hook. We're going to go ahead, chain 4. Yarn over, bring through the loop. Yarn over, bring through the loop. That's 2, 3, and 4. We've got 4 chains on our foundation row there. We're going to go into this first one with a slip knot. Now what I want you to do is when you go into there, I want you to pinch. You see how I've got that center piece there? You want to just pinch it with your 2 fingers so that you can hold that opening. And then we're going to slip stitch by pulling that through and through. And now by pinching that, we can easily get to that space there, which is what we want. We're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. This counts as a double crochet. So that's one of the 3 that we need. We're going to yarn over, go into that loop, yarn over, draw up a loop, bring it up so that it's the same height, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. Now we have 2 double crochets so far. We're going to work another one. Yarn over, go into that center, yarn over, pull up a loop, and if you're new, don't leave it short like that. You'll have a funny looking stitch. You want to just bring it up so that it's the same height. You're going to yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. All right, so that's one of our corners started. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3 into that center, and you'll see that I'm holding this yarn tail as I go around, and I'm going right over top of it to bury it. Then we're going to yarn over, go into there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 and through 2, and do that 2 more times. Second double crochet and the third one. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 more double crochets into the center. 1, 2, and 3, and chain up 3, 1, 2, oops, I got some tightness coming out of my ball there, 3, let me just get some slack, and we're going to put 3 more double crochets into that center ring. 1, and 2, and 3. Let's take a look here so far. We've got our 3 double crochets, we've got our corner, 3 double crochets, corner, 3 and a corner, 3. We need to finish off our corner. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to go into that 3rd chain. So if you pull this out, if you didn't use a stitch marker, this is how you determine it. If you pull this out, you'll see that there's that bar going down there. That stitch there is the top of this double crochet. So the one right before it, right here, is our chain, the top of the 3rd chain. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now make sure that you don't just pick up the single strand there. go in and make sure you get both strands, and then there's one left down there, but pick up both strands there, and that will help to secure this in a better fashion. Okay, so I'm going to go in, getting under 2 bars, yarn over, bring it through that loop, and then bring it through the loop on my hook. That is a slip stitch to join, and there we go. I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to pull that through, I'm going to cut this off. That is how easy the first color is to do. Now what I do, we need 5 of these granny squares. You pull on the back like that just to tighten. You see how we close that circle? And we carried it along as we went, so we just have to cut it off. If you're not confident in that and you think it's going to come loose, then go back in the other direction. But they never come loose for me, so I'm confident in that. Okay, then we're going to take this one. We're going to hide it as well. You can do that now, or you can do what I do. I do an assembly line. I know I need 5 of these. I'm not going to finish this granny square piece. I'm going to make, like by adding the other 2 colors, I like to do an assembly line. I'm going to make all 5 of them. I'm going to just weave this down, and you can make all 5 and then weave down your ends, or you can make one, weave down your ends, get down to the bottom there. I'm going to go into that circle just like this. And see, if you pull too tight, you're compromising this edge, so make sure you pull it back out. And then I would go back around this way. Go in the opposite direction, pull it through, cut it off. And we've got one beautiful little center section for our granny square. I'm going to make 4 more, and then I'll see you back. Truth is, that's how I did it for all 5 of these. I whipped these up beforehand. I did all 5 of these. Then I did what we just did. Then I grabbed my second color. I did all 5. And then my third color, I did all 5. I love these colors together. We are going to now grab our second color, which for me is the Loops and Threads yarn in the color mauve. Okay. We're going to put a slip knot on our hook, just like we did with the green. And then we're going to take our little piece, and we are going to choose any one of those spaces. I'm going to pop my hook. Once this is on my hook, I'm going to pop my hook into that space. I'm going to yarn over that tail, bring it through, and through the loop, like you're bringing it through the space and through the loop that's on your hook, okay? And that's how we're joining. From there, I'm going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. That counts as my first double crochet. If you need to go ahead and put a stitch marker in there, then you go ahead and do that right there in the 3rd chain. This counts as our first double crochet. We're going to make 2 more. 1 and 2. I'm so excited about this pattern, you guys, because I know there are other granny square, as I've mentioned at the start of this video, there are other granny square beanies out there, but I found this in an old book. It's 50 years old that my mother had, and so I'll make this in remembrance of her. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to yarn over and put 3 more double crochets. 1 and 2 and 3. There we go. We've got 1 corner started. We're going to chain 1. There are many ways to do granny squares. The more modern way, you'll see that they don't generally do 3 here, and sometimes they don't even do 1 chain here. This is what I love about this pattern. It's vintage. I'm going back to our original makers. I'm doing it as they would have done it. So I'm going to yarn over, go into this next corner. I don't know how old granny squares are. They could be much older than 50 years old, and they likely are. I should Google it and put it in the description box below. That's what I'll do. Make sure you check down there for a fun fact. 3 double crochets, chain 3, and 3 more double crochets into that corner space. 1 and 2 and 3. We finished that corner. We're going to chain 1 to move on. Then we're going to go into this next corner, and we're going to repeat 3 double crochets. Make sure you have slack coming out of your ball. Chain 3 and 3 double crochets. And you got it. We're going to chain 1 into our last corner, 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets. You can see how fast this beanie works up. It's just so beautiful. So 1, 2, 3, and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and another 3 double crochets into that space. 1 and 2, and one more 3. We still have to do our chain 1, and then where we put our stitch marker, we're going to go into that space. This is what I love about bobby pins. Then I just pull it out like that. I will link those in the description box below. And we're going to yarn over, go through that stitch and through the loop on our hook as a slip stitch to join. Come on, get through there, buddy. Then we are going to yarn over, pull it through that to secure, cut this off, pull it through, pull down. There's our second section. We're going to then take this one, and I always carry it back underneath those loops. And again, you can do this now, or you can make all 5 and then go back and hide your ends after that. I find assembly lines make work faster. You could do, like I said before, a full granny square and then put that aside, make another full granny square and do that 5 times. Or you can do it in sections like what I do and get a bunch of them and do it in an assembly. Like for me, I would do all 5 of these. Oops, there it is. I would do all 5 of these of the pink section and then go hide all the tails on all 5. But because I've only got one here, because I've made all the other ones, I'm going to hide it as I go. So you do what works best for you. So I take that down to where I have these stitches there, the base of the stitches there, and then I go through. I put one or two strands in between, and then I go through again in the opposite direction, making sure that you only pull it so that it's hidden. You don't pull it so that you gather it and compromise the look of your piece. There we go. Second section done. Moving on to the third. For our third section, I'm using Bernat Super Value yarn in the color Winter White. I love, love, love this color. I think it's gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to put a slip knot on my hook, just like that. And we are going to join to any section and choose that one. Into the center, grab that loop and bring it underneath and through the loop that was on your hook. Then take that little tail to the back. We're going to chain up 3, which counts as our first double crochet. Go ahead, put your stitch marker if you need to. Put it under both loops, then it's easier to, or both strands, then it's easier to connect later without having to look for both strands. We're going to then do 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. We're going to chain 3, slide that over. I'm carrying this yarn just in this first corner here, and then I'm going to do 3 more double crochets. 1 and 2 and one more is 3. We're going to chain 1, then into our track here along the side here we've got this loop here. We've got to, this is where this is different from the other row. We're going to go into that space. We're going to do 3 double crochets, 1 and 2 and 3. Finishing it off with a chain 1. Then we're going to do the next corner, 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 3, and oops, snagged that one, so let me take that out and do 1 more chain, move that over, and 3 more double crochets, 1 and 2 and 3. I'm going to chain 1 into this next space here. We're going to put 3 double crochets. 1, sorry for the clicking of that paper, that bobby pin on my table. 2 and 3. And we're finished that. We're going to chain 1. We're going to do the same thing into the next corner. We're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets, chain 1. 3 double crochets into the space that's in the center there, chain 1. 3 double crochets, chain 3, 3 double crochets, chain 1. I'll meet you at this section here. Into that center space, 3 double crochets, 1 and 2 and 3, chain 1. We're going to attach to where our stitch marker is. Right in there. Take that out, slip stitch to join, yarn over, go through that stitch, go through the loop on your hook. Yarn over, pull through, cut off, pull that knot down with your fingernail. Isn't it beautiful? Oh my gosh, I just love it. Hide your tails. All right, friends, we have all 5 done, and they're just lovely. I love these colors. I've grabbed 4 stitch markers, but this time I've used ones that are closable. I don't need to use these when I'm doing this because I know what stitch to find, but I'm going to use them to help you if you're new. We're going to take 2 of these. I needed 8 of these, not 4. But we're going to take, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, and then I'll go do the second one. You're going to find your, take one corner. Let's find those chain 3s. So here's 1, 2, and 3. You're going to stick a stitch marker in that middle one, just like that. Then I'm going to go over to this one. 1, 2, 3, easy to find. Put a stitch marker in that middle one. Go ahead and do that on all corners. This will just help you. Once you get the visual, I'm a very visual person, so if somebody can teach me something visually, the best way that they can, then the next time I, won't have to do the stitch markers, and you might be the same way. So I've got those in the middle stitch of every corner. I'm going to put that on this next one here, and I'll meet you back. There we go. I removed that Koala Knits and Knacks white tray that was behind underneath because maybe you'll be able to see it better that way, but I've got them done on both. Now, if I'm looking at the front side of this, we have, at the top of each stitch, we have a front loop, and this is considered the back loop. So looking at the front, this is the front loop, that's the back loop. When we put 2 pieces together with the right sides together, so this is the back of the piece and that's the back of the piece, the right sides are together, then the back loop becomes the one that's closest to you on this one, and it's farthest from you on this side, okay? And we're working into the back loops. So you're gonna go to one of your corners, and taking our ivory yarn on our needle, we're going to go into the back loop of that chain that our stitch marker is in. So I'm going to go through there, then on this one here, pick it up, and I'm going to go through that loop. And I'm going to pull this through. Just going to hide this tails into the inside so it doesn't get in my way and snag around my line as I'm pulling it through. And then we're going to move on to the next stitch, which is this one. Nope, it's this. It's this one here. And then over to this other side, pick that up, just go straight across. And pull that. You're gonna easily see these loops. Here's the next one, and the back of that next one across, and pull through. And we're gonna do that right across the row, back loop, pull through. Back loop, pull through. Back loop, pull through. And do that right to the next stitch marker. how easy this is? Oh, got my joining knot there, so that could be a little bit tricky, but you just get in there beside it. I'm going to come across, grab that next one, and this next one. So this one should have went beside that knot a little closer, but I'm going to grab this one again. And then we've got our little third stitches lined up there. We're going to come in, pick up this last one, that last one, this one, and that one, and then into our third stitch. Don't remove this stitch marker because we're going to go into there again when we're joining the other one. And we have one piece joined, and you see by going into the back loops, you have your front loops that are detailing the outside of your work. Okay, so what we're going to do next is I'm going to position our next piece. Now, we really don't need these two. You really only needed to put stitch markers on 2 of them, but I don't know why I did 4. I did, and now you see the visual. We're going to keep this one. You needed to have it 4 of them on the center one, but only 2 of them on 2 sides for all the other pieces. We're going to put this one here, and this one here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to, because I'm into the third one here, if I want to put stitch markers in the third one here, or the middle of the 3 right there, just so you can get a visual, and I'll put it in the middle of the third one here, the middle one of the 3 here. So that's going to be on this side, just like that. I can remove these 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place that one over top like that so the right sides are together. From this center one, I'm going to go into this center one. Now I can take those stitch markers out because, well, you know, leave them in because when we do the sides, it might still be helpful for you. May or it may not be, but leave them in, and then you can determine when we get to that next step. But I'm going to bring this around, and I'm going to begin working in my next stitch here and here. The corners are the trickiest parts to see which is the first and which is the second stitch. There we go. And I'm going to work that all the way up just like I did the other side. Then I'm going to do the same for this one. I'm going to attach my stitch markers here, pull out. You can see that it works there. You're going to go up the side, and then you're going to do the one for this here too. But once I get this one done, I'll come back and I'll see you, and we'll place the third one together. I'm going to just go across into the back loops only. Now, if we're counting, let me give you another little tip here. If we're counting, so we've got this middle one here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we've got this chain 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 all the way across. Then when you, if you count them that way, you'll make sure that you've got every loop and it's even on all pieces. So 15 stitches across is what we are working on, okay? So I counted that third one on this piece, and I'm counting, or that middle one of the 3. Why do I keep calling it the third one? I counted that middle one of the piece when I sewed this side on. Now I'm starting it as number 1 again as I sew this side, okay? Go across until you have all 15 loops sewn together. And again, they're very easy to see. I'm coming up to my stitch markers, and into that middle stitch I go, just like that. Now I finished off 2 of my sides. We're going to go ahead, take the next square. We're going to place our stitch markers in 2 of the corners. Into that middle stitch of the corners. We're going to place that over the center, lining up our stitch markers. taking our yarn tail, and if you cut off too short of one, you can easily add one, just tie it off. We already know we're in that middle stitch of this one because that's where we ended, the stitch marker here. So just go up to this middle one here and grab it, and then I go across and I pick up this one again, just to connect those two. And I'm going to continue across, making sure your right sides are together. It's this one here. All right, I'll see you when you get to the end. Having made it to the end, I'm going to take my last one and I'm going to place it on top, just like that. And I have enough yarn on my needle, yay. And I'm going to just finish it going across and across, joining. And I'll meet you when I join these two stitch markers. All right, I have that completed. And if you do too, it should be looking like this. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, because my yarn tail is small and short, I'm going to tie off one knot and 2 knots. I'm going to let that just hang, and I'll hide that in a bit. All right, so that's where we're at. This one I'm going to knot off too. This was the beginning of our tail. Fasten that off so that it doesn't come undone. Oops, too long of a tail there. And there we go. I'm going to let that just hang, and I will change that later. Now you can see that we still have all our stitch markers in there, and that's good, because what we're going to do now is, except for the ones that are attached to, like we have 3 in every corner, you can take off the ones that are attached to this center piece. And that will free up some space there. So the one that was attached to here, and these blue ones, I'm going to take those off. That will help me with the next section. But I again suggest that you do use stitch markers, because attention to detail is always very, very important to me. And even if you know where to find them, which I do, and I have, you know, made one without using the stitch markers, I would still suggest that you do. I'm finding even using them now that I'm liking it better. All right, so there we go. We are going to put another strand of yarn on our needle. What we're going to do is we're going to sew this side to this side to this side, these two together, and those two together. So you're going to just pick one, put those two corners. So I'm putting this corner with this corner. It's a little awkward until you bend it like that, and then it's good. And we're going to do the same thing. So you don't need as long as a tail here. I'm going to go into the back loop of that stitch marker, stitch, and the back loop of that one. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to tie it off, tie that tail. And I put a long one on here because then when I cut it off, then I'll just use the excess that's on here for the next side. And we're going to, from there, follow it down. And once you get a little ways, then you can take that stitch. I'm going to take it out now because it's compromising how tight I can put this. It was caught around that other stitch marker, that is why. Oh, you guys, my husband is smoking ribs. He's getting the smoker going right now. I'm downstairs in my craft room. The smoker is out in the backyard. But the wood chips that we use, oh my goodness, I can smell it down here, and it is just, we're going to smoke ribs all day and have them for supper. But the smell is just to die for. Like, it smells so good. So come on over for supper and enjoy them with me. All right, I'm going to go all the way down in the same manner. And then when I get to the bottom here, I'm going to end on the second loop, the middle loop of each of these spaces and tie in a knot, and then cut off, and I'm going to meet you back then, and we'll do the next side. So I'm into the second chain of the chain 3 right there. That's the middle one. I'm going to knot off. One and 2. I'm going to cut off a tail. I can then remove this stitch marker because I'm done with that end. And that's what that part is looking like, okay? We've got those two together, and now we have to join these next two. So fold them into each other. So here we go. This was our center. We've sewn these two together. Take these next two, bring them together. Do the same thing, starting in the middle stitch where our stitch markers are, going down to the middle stitch here, knot off, and cut, and then do it with this one, and do it with this one, and have all 4 sides attached. And when you have all 4 done, I will meet you back. Okay, so this is what you should have. Some people might like just the shortness of this on their head, and you can put that on and see what you think. But for me, it's still going to be a snug beanie to my head, but I am going to add a nice edging, which I think will look nicer. This is not part of the pattern that I had found. This is just what I'm deciding to add. So it's a modern take on the on the vintage beanie. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hide all of my tails down into that seam. And then back up. When you hide your tails, don't pull your yarn tail. Like, I'm going to just let it nicely glide through there. If I pull on it like this, I start to stretch my work. And if you do that on all of your tails, you're going to have, your attention to detail won't be as nice, and you're going to have puckering. So be very careful even when you hide your tails. There's detail that you need to follow even in such a simple thing. So I'm going to go down, pick up a few stitches, pull through, but I'm only pulling to get it through and to get it flush with my beanie, but I'm not pulling any tighter to cause any gathering. Then I'm going to go up. Same thing there. Cut off. Hide all your tails, and then see me back. All right, I have all my tails hid. I've got the right side facing. I'm going to just pinch it at the top there so I can give you a measurement. This is 6 inches long, so it would sit nice and snug on your head if you followed the 50-year-old vintage pattern that I have. We're going to add a brim, a simple one. We're going to, or an edging, make it a little bit longer. Slip knot onto your hook using the same hook. Now here's where you got to be careful. We got to turn this way because we want the right side of our stitching to be on the right side of our work. So we got to crochet on the right side. So I'm going to pop my hook into one of these center seams here, and we're going to slip stitch to join. Yarn over, bring it through that stitch. Get that tail out of the way. Bring it through the loop on your hook. That is a slip stitch to join. Into that very same stitch, we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop. We're going to do a single crochet. Take your stitch marker, pop it in the top of that single crochet, and just leave it there. Well, what I'm going to do now is for every corner, so here's my corner right here, I am going to, what did I do? I'm going to do 2 single crochets in there. So 1 and 2. And then along every stitch here, so we know we have 3 double crochets, we're going to do 1 single crochet into each of those. So that's 3. I'm going to count them as I go around. 4 and 5. So 1 in each of those. Here's my chain 1. I'm going to go right into that chain 1, or you can go, I'm going to go right in. That's what I did on my last one too. That will be 6 single crochets. And then here's 3 double crochets, 1 in each. And then we're chain one, put one in your chain one. I'm going to count them later when I get done. Then there's 3 more double crochets, one in the top of each. I'm going to do a little bit of a fancier stitch for the next 2 rows. Here is our corner, okay? We've got one of our, because we've gone into this middle chain here, I'm not going to count this chain here and say we need to put 3 in there, because this first one here is attached to the side here. So literally there's only 2 that are there. So in every little corner space here, we're going to put 2 single crochets. And then in that seam, I'm going to put 1. Then into this corner space, I'm going to put 2. And then we've got 3. Then you've got your single chain that's right there. When you chained 1, you're going to go into there. If you want to go just into the space, you can do that too. It won't really matter. And then 3 more, 1 in each. And 3. Then there's my chain 1. I'm going to go into there. And then 3 more. So by having my work away from me like this and the front facing, I'm getting the front of my stitches on the front of my work. Okay, here's my corner. I'm going to do 2 in there. 1 into the seam. Just poke it in there the best that you can. And 2 in this next corner. 1 in each of these 3 double crochets. And we're going to continue on that like that all the way around. Here's my chain 1. You have to work to get into those chain 1s, but again, you can go underneath like this if you like, but I like to have it anchored in there. You don't have many to do, so take that extra time. And then my 3 double crochets. And then again, my chain 1. My 3 double crochets. I'm at my corner. What do we do there? 2 double crochets, or single crochets. I hope I have not been saying double crochets all the way around. And then a single crochet into the seam. Here's my other corner. We're going to put 2 single crochets into there. And then 1 into each of these 3 double crochets. We're almost around, friends. 1 into that chain. One into each of the double crochets. I think I went right under that space. I don't think it got into there, but that's okay. I could be wrong. Into that chain. We're coming near to the end here, see, friends? We're going to go 1 into each of these double crochets, 1 single crochet, another single crochet, another single crochet, and into our corner, we're going to put 2 single crochets. All right, so I made it around. I have 64 stitches. Here's where my first one was. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the back loop of that first stitch here, yarn over, bring it through, and bring it through, slip stitch to join. Then we're going to chain 1. We're going to turn our work. Now the back loops are there. We're going to go into that back loop, single crochet, that's 1, into the back loop of the next one, and 2, and 3. I'm going to put my stitch marker on that first one. I'm going to go in the back loop of all of our stitches all the way around, getting 64 stitches. And when I get to the end, I'll see you back and then I'll tell you what you got to do from there. So it's easy. Back loop, single crochet all the way around. I have 64 stitches. Yours might have worked out to, you know, a little bit less or a little bit more depending on where you added your first row of single crochets. Don't worry about it. If it fits your head, it's good. So I'm going to keep going around till I get to the end, and when I get close to the end, I'll come back and see you. All right, so round 2 done. I did 64 stitches, just like round 1. I'm going to take out that lovely stitch marker. I'm going to go into the back loop of my first stitch. I'm going to slip stitch to join. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to turn my work into the base of that stitch, into the back loop only. I'm going to do a single crochet. That's 1. I always do 3 or 4 before I put my stitch marker in. 2, 3. Back it up and stick your stitch marker in there. Continue around for 64 stitches and then join, chain 1, turn your work. We're going to complete 5 rows exactly the same way. Enjoy the process, friends. I'll see you at the end of row 5. All right, so I finished my 5th row, ensuring I had 64 stitches in each row. I'm going to remove my stitch marker. We're going to go under both loops this time. And we're going to slip stitch to join, yarn over, bring through that loop. Oops, cut off your tail, pull it through, press that down with your thumb. Then I'm going to hide my tails and that other tail that I missed. Oh, I love this hat so much. And then I'm going to measure it for you. Go into there, just go around some of these stitches, pick them up, and back down. Take this one. I love the fact that I could take an old vintage pattern, give it a modern twist with my brim, like a new twist with my brim, and just bring those two things together. I just love that. It just warms my heart. It's like the vintage, Grandma Mary's vintage slippers that I have on my channel. It reminded me of my grandma from so many years ago. These kinds of things just bring good memories. So here we go. And there we go. That's the back, and if you made a mistake and put that in the front, no one would even know. And there we go. Let's put this right in half, and let's measure it now and see what we've got. Seven and a half inches. And what do we got? 19 centimeters. Actually, the brim is down here. We've got almost 20 centimeters. I was going by this line. Almost 20 centimeters, and let's do this again. Bring that one out. Yeah, 7.5. I love this. I think it's so gorgeous. I'm going to quickly show you the other one that I made in the black and the winter white and gray. Isn't it beautiful? You guys got to make this pattern. You got to make this pattern. I'm going to try to make a few more patterns. I shouldn't say it because then I'm committing myself, but I want to do a few more granny square kind of projects on my channel, and I'll eventually get to it. But there you go. Aren't they just beautiful? Just absolutely love them. Now, for me, as I was doing this, I was thinking of a friend, honestly, the entire way through. And if she's watching this, which she probably isn't because she doesn't do circular knitting, but I got to give her one of these because it's got her name written all over it, especially this one. So isn't it fun to do things and then gift them? I just love that feeling, especially if you're thinking about someone when you are making it. And I thought about my mom too, because I got this pattern from her stash after she passed away. I got all of her crochet books, all her patterns, everything, because I'm the only one of the three of us kids who does this kind of work. And I got boxes of patterns, old patterns, her handwritten patterns and stuff too. And this is one of them. And I'm going to just proudly have this on my channel. Thanks for joining me, friends. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and come on over and join my Facebook group if you have not done so already. If you're posting in other Facebook groups, I always ask that you put the link there, or at least state that you got the pattern from the Koala Knits and Knacks YouTube channel. That it helps people to find it and directs them to my channel, and it's one way that you can support me in doing that. So thanks again. I always enjoy spending time with you. I just thank you so much for being a part of my community and for supporting me in the ways that you do. I will also make a quick mention that I do have, as of recently, I have added a Buy Me a Coffee link down in the description box below, which I will use for yarn because I haven't been drinking coffee for the last couple of months actually, and I will use it to buy yarn, and it is also a way that you can support my channel. So if you choose to do that, I appreciate that very much, and I thank you in advance. You guys are just the best, and I am so blessed to have this channel and to have you as a part of my community. So thanks again for joining me. I hope you make one of these. I can't wait to see your color combinations. Take care. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Have a very blessed day.